Travel. Well, not quite, but we're going to talk about time in a different sense. We're going to talk about it measuring broadband speed, which isn't really time. The FCC Measuring Broadband America program is what we're going to be talking about. The FCC Measuring Broadband America program's mobile measurement effort is a collaborative crowdsourcing initiative to gather anonymous data from the smartphones of thousands of volunteers in order to assess the broadband performance nationwide. The data collected is used to provide consumers and policymakers with a perspective on mobile broadband service performance across the nation. Information is made freely available to all, of course, subject to various protections to guard the privacy of participants. What is the FCC speed test? Well, it's an application and is part of a campaign to provide the consumers with free, open, and transparent information on the status of mobile broadband performance across the U.S. The FCC Speed Test app collects data automatically to ensure data is statistically valid, providing a perspective on typical wireless information. Here are some terms that you need to at least be aware of. You don't have to commit them to memory, and if this is a little bit above your level of information knowledge, you don't need to worry about it. It just gives you a general idea of some of the terms that are in the test. The download speed is the incoming throughput in megabits per second, utilizing three concurrent transmission control protocol, or TCP, connections. Upload speed, outgoing throughput in megabits per second, utilizing three concurrent transmission control protocol, TCP, connections. The UDP latency is the average round-trip time of a series of randomly transmitted user datagram protocol, UDP, packets distributed over a long time frame. The UDP packet loss is the fraction of UDP packets that are lost during a UDP latency test. And then the UDP jitter means the round-trip time, or RTT, of UDP echo requests in microseconds from the app to target test node. Now, if you didn't quite understand that, don't worry about it. Now, if you want to use the FCC tests, you can get them from the Google Play Store, or if you have an iPhone, you can get it from the Apple apps. And you want the FCC speed test. Now, I did it. I've installed it on my iPhone and my Android phone. So I want to just show you what the test looks like. This is on the iPhone Wi-Fi here in my home. The download speed was 150. The upload speed was 152. The latency was 18 milliseconds. There was a jitter of about 1.4 milliseconds, but the packet loss was 95%, quite a bit. Now, when I did it, I turned off the Wi-Fi and I used the data. In other words, the cell tower instead of my local Wi-Fi. And that was through AT&T, and it's their 4G. I had a download speed of 54.6 and an upload speed of 19.1. That means around 50 download and about 20 upload, which is a really good speed for a phone connection. Latency was a little bit high. The jitter was higher than the Wi-Fi, but there was no packet loss. Now, I also did it on my Android phone using just the Wi-Fi, and I had an 81 download and an upload of 118. Then I did it again, and I got a download of 151 and an upload of 147. So there can be a difference, and the difference is, and what you have to realize, that when you connect to somebody else to do one of these tests, you're at the mercy. If they're slower than what you're sending and it comes back, it can't go any faster than their set. So there may be there might have been a problem at the data center this connected to do the test. And you should always remember that. So always do a few tests. And sometimes if you have the ability to, which you do not have with the FCC test, to change the location of where you're sending the information to and receiving it back for tests. Now, if you have a PC or a Mac, you can't use this FCC test program, but there are some other ways that you can test your speed. One of my favorites is I just go to Google and I type in speed test, and it comes back with the little blue box you see on your screen. When I click it, I get a test, and it actually tells me where the server is. And I can test again. Now, you can also you can download a program from Ookla, O-O-K-L-A, or use their online service, which is speedtest.net, and you'll see what I got from that location was I had just under 50, 150, and just upload was just over 150. And they give me the ping, but they don't give me any packets lost information and so on. But I pay for 150 up and 150 down, so I'm getting what I'm supposed to get. So even if the FCC test said it was something different, I run the speed test just to double check. Okay, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about travel. We talked about the time. Now let's talk about travel. I got an email today from Google. Fancy that. And it says, Hewie, your August update from Google Maps timeline. It's something I subscribed to. And this was the top of the email saying, here's my new timeline update. And then I can explore the timeline, but this was a long email, and I'm going to scroll down one screen at a time so you can see it and read it. First of all was my monthly timeline, and it showed my August visits were 7 cities in 28 places, and it pinpoints them on a map. Then it said your August activity, I traveled 131 miles in a total of 7 hours of travel. It figured that out from my phone. And then under highlights, here's the cities I visited. They happen to be within the area because I didn't travel out of my area. Now, these are pictures that they have in their catalog or their database. These are not pictures that I took. And also the highlights of places I visited, they picked out 3. And I'm going to talk about those in just a moment. Scrolling further down my email, it says I had about 6% around the world this year. I've traveled 1,580 miles so far in 2020. A lot of that was before the COVID thing back in January and February. My all-time data, since it's been collecting this information, I visited 43 cities, 494 places, and then it says I can manage my history, I can go to my timeline, or I can go to my activity controls, and I can actually pause my location history if I wish. Now let's look at what the timeline looks like. You have a timeline by year, month, and day. It can be a period, it can be any one of those. You can pinpoint it to a certain day, a month, or a full year, and it'll show you all the places you went to that year. And you can see in this year, in all of the time, and I think mine goes back to 2017, so it's about 3 years of data here. Now, I took August 2020, and it pinpointed I haven't been out of my home area, and you can see that. Now, what else does it tell me? Well, it actually, I can go to any particular day, and here is July 17th of this year, and you can see how I traveled that day. I might have gone home, started from home, gone somewhere, gone back home, and then gone back out again, and it keeps track of all of that as well. And then it also shows different places that I've been. I was at the Walmart Supercenter. And then I went home, dropped off the groceries, and then I went back out again. Now here is July 31st, 2020. It was a different route. I started from home. Then I went to the county voter registration. I dropped off my primary ballot. And then I went to Sam's Club. And you can see the route that I took. And then if you continue down the timeline, you would see how I ended up where it says the Asia restaurant. Then I doubled back and went home with the food that I got. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that Asia restaurant right now. Remember, there was a picture of an Asia restaurant there? There is a restaurant called Asia Restaurant. I didn't go there. I went to a Chinese takeout in a little strip center right behind it. So it knew I was in that area. I was in the same parking lot, but it pinpointed me in the wrong place. But it was pretty close. Here's a close-up of that where it shows that I went to the Manatee County voter registration. It also says that I went to the Skyway Food Market. I said, what the heck is the Skyway Food Market? And when I looked down and I pinpointed it on the map, I realized that that food market is a mini mart that's in a little strip center where my insurance agent was located. And I went there to get some information on one of my insurance policies. So I was in the same building, but I wasn't in the food mart because I was trying to figure out where that came from. And there's where it shows it. And you can see that square where the Skyway Food Mart is the same building that my insurance agent is in. Here is all of the year 2017, and you can see that I traveled to Orlando, and it shows where I was in Orlando, and I can pinpoint down to the point where it shows that I was at the convention center. And I also was at the Sun City Center because I did in that year I did a presentation. I don't know if that's the date that I did the presentation. I might have been there for another reason, but I've been to Sun City Center a few times. So now, how do you manage your location history? Location history is a Google account level setting that saves where you go with every mobile device. Where you're signed into your Google account, you have turned on location history, and the device has location reporting turned on. When you turn on location history, you may see a number of benefits across the Google products and services, including personalized maps, recommendations based on places you visited, help finding your phone, real-time traffic updates about your commute, and some more useful ads. Now, this was written by Google, you could tell. Because one of the bad things about it is it shows every place you go. You may not want anybody else to ever see that. But you can manage, again, your location history. It's turned off by default for your Google account and can be only turned on if you opt in. You can pause local location history at any time in your Google account's activity controls. You control what's saved in your location history. You can view the places where you've been in Google Maps timeline, and you can edit or delete information through timeline as well. And important, some of these steps work only on Android 8.0 and up. So if you have an older version of Android, you may not be able to delete some of this information. And learn how to check your Android version. Now, to turn your location history on or off, you can do so for your account at any time. If you use a work or school account, your administrator needs to make this setting available to you. If they do, you'll be able to use location history as any other user. You go to the location history section in your Google account. You choose whether your account or your device can report location history to Google. Your account and all devices at the top turn on location history on. You can turn it on or you can turn it off. And only a certain device under this device or devices on this account, then you can turn that device on or off. So you can have one device with it on and another one with it off. When location history is turned on, Google only receives location history for each device where you're signed in and have location reporting turned on. You can change the location reporting setting for each device where you're signed in and limit which device provides location data to be included in location history. If you want to change your location history settings, you can choose to report your location only from some of your devices, but not others. Report your location from all of your devices. Turn off location history for your Google account. Your location won't be reported from any of your devices, and you will not have new location history recorded to your account. And your settings for other location services on your device, like Google Location Services and Find My Device, are not changed. When it's turned off, when the location history is turned off, new location information is no longer saved to your location history. Previous activity is not deleted from your location history, but you can manually delete it. Your settings for other location services on your device, like Google Location Services and Find My Device, are not changed. And some location data may continue to be saved in other settings, like web and app activity, as part of your use of other services like search and maps, even after you turn off location history. You can manage and delete your location history information with Google Maps Timeline. You can choose to delete all of your history or only parts of it. Important, when you delete location history information from your timeline, you won't be able to see it ever again. Now, on the Apple iOS and Apple iPhone location history, Apple provides less location history data and less detail. However, you can see some history. And here's how to find your information. Go to the Settings app on your iPhone, scroll down and tap Privacy, tap Location Services, and scroll to the bottom. Here's what we're talking about. iOS settings screens show privacy and location services. Tap the system services, scroll to significant locations called frequent location in some versions of iOS. You can turn this feature off with the toggle switch at the top of the significant location screen. You'll find your location history at the bottom with location names and dates. And this is what the screens look like for that. And number 7 on this list, you can now see everything that Apple sees. Apple stores a limited number of locations and doesn't provide precise travel tracks and timelines like Google does. It provides a location, a date, and an approximate position circle on a non-interactive, you can't pinch to zoom it, map. One final note, like much technology today, location history can be harmful or helpful depending upon who uses it and how, whether you understand and control it, and whether you opt in to what you want to have tracked or opt out of what you don't want. Learning about location history on your device and how to view and control it is the first step. I'm Hewie Poplock.
Last spring, I was entertaining myself one night by watching stuff on YouTube, and I happened on a very old movie film that was made in Paris in the mid-1890s. I didn't even know they did that back then. It's 125 years ago. This film had been specially remastered, digitized, and colorized. I can't show you the whole film, but here are some snapshots I took when viewing it on my TV. The maker of this film even added a very realistic soundtrack that made the film seem to have been made much more recently. If you're interested in viewing this film and others like it on YouTube, I suggest you use the search word "old films colorizing." I promise that you'll be amazed. After watching a number of these films, I began to wonder if there might be a colorization software for my Windows 10 computer that could change my old black and white photos into beautiful color. I researched it a bit and discovered that there were indeed a number of such programs. Further exploring led me to a program called Pixbim Color Surprise AI that seemed to be considered among the best of such colorization programs. Their website is pixbim.com. You can download Pixbim Color Surprise AI for a free trial, but if you want to save colorized images, you'll have to buy it. I captured this price information from the Pixbim website. It was the same price about 4 months ago when I bought my license to use it. Once I'd paid Pixbim $40 for the license, I quickly began looking for opportunities to use the program, and one appeared very soon because in June, one of my high school classmates sent me 15 old black and white snapshots from 1951, 52, hoping I'd share them with our remaining classmates. The colored photo at the right is the one of the photos I later sent out. Then I began to wonder what I looked like in color when I was just a little tyke. This is a photo of me with my sister Dorleen. Some of you may remember that she was a Silveridge resident from 2001 until I think through the spring of 2010. Anyway, or no, 2009, sorry. And here's a photo taken 84 years ago when I was just 2 years old. I was just amazed to see the color come out and what I was wearing, and really, it was pretty neat. In July, my wife Joanne asked me to make a copy of one of our wedding pictures for our then upcoming 60th wedding anniversary. I scanned it and of course colorized it for her. Needless to say, we were both surprised and amazed. On Saturday, Joanne showed me a photo of her grandparents taken in 1914 at their wedding, and wondered if I could colorize it. I looked at it and I told her I thought it was too dark to colorize, but I said I'd do my best. So I scanned it with my old Epson 4490 flatbed photo scanner, cropped it slightly, and made significant changes to the photo's brightness and contrast. I was surprised at how well it turned out. You can see that on the left. Joanne really appreciated, excuse me, I think you're leaving it. Joanne really appreciated seeing that. And I'll go back a slide so you can see what the previous one was and how it looks now. Something. Okay, well, anyway, I thought you might like to see a demonstration of how this Pixbim Color Surprise AI works. So I'll boot up the program and demonstrate it now. And I need to get rid of this because it's covering up my, okay, here we go. Now, this is what Pixbim looks like. Are you seeing my
No,
picture?
we're still seeing the, just X out of the
Okay, I'm good now. I'm good now. Anyway, this is what the basic interface looks like of software. I'm going to load an image, and I'm going to pick this one of Abraham Lincoln in 1860.
Hewie, we can't, or Dewey, we can't see it. You have to minimize the PowerPoint.
Minimize the PowerPoint.
Or X out of the PowerPoint.
Just a minute. What do I do here?
Just get out of the PowerPoint.
And share a different.
I see his application.
Oh, do you?
Well,
Yes.
stop sharing. There we go.
And then share.
Share screen. Okay. This got more complicated than I thought. Oh, okay.
Try sharing one more time.
We got it in sharing screen one more time. Okay, there we go. Boy, this got more complicated than I
There
thought
you
it
go.
would.
There you go.
And so anyway, I picked this film, Lincoln, in 1860. Now this is, at first, when you load an image, it immediately shares a preview. You don't usually get to see the whole picture, you get to see part of it. So what you have to do is go down to the right-hand corner and start the process and save the image. Now I might mention before I do that, there is a slide here for color factor from one side to the other, but I've experimented with it and it seems like on the low setting, it does the best most of the time. So I'm going to just leave it there. I'll click right now. And what it's going to do, first of all, it asks me to save a location. I'll save it. And so here we go. It's going to start the process right now. I believe. Oh, did I? Okay, we'll start the process again. Save. Okay, and so now it starts the process. If you look this white slider bar with the green bars appearing, it takes maybe 10, 12 seconds for the full colorization effect to occur. Okay, and so now it's done. You can just go out of the program. Just a minute, I'm not quite done. Okay, what happened? I have to share my screen again? Okay. Let's see, where is my screen? No, it isn't. This is terrible. Oh, we'll try the share. Okay. Well, I didn't want that. We'll get out of that, but here we go. Gee, this isn't working out well. I'm so sorry. I wanted to show you some pictures that I had on my screen. And so I guess I can't do it, but I was going to show you the full picture of Lincoln. No, I was going to show you the full picture. And so we'll have to do that another time. But thank you very much. Okay. Bye-bye.
Good morning. It's Ron Brown with Silvercon Computer and Technology Club. The title of today's presentation is It's Only a Chromebook. Today's demo will be done with my Chromebook Samsung Plus. The goal of this presentation is to show you some time-saving key commands. To demonstrate a new feature in Chrome, you're able now in the Chrome operating system 77 is to use Google Assistant. I'm going to show you how virtual desktops work. And at the end of the presentation, a wow factor. You're going to go, wow, this is pretty impressive. So let's get on with the show. There are three ways to move between tabs in your browser. You can use a mouse to do a click and move to the second browser, or you can use the control key plus a number. So if you wanted to see the second tab, you could use control number 2. This would allow you to keep your fingers on the keyboard while you were typing. Or you can do a 3-finger swipe. Explain. In this demo, you'll see my Chromebook. I have my arrow at the top, and I'm on Amazon. I'm now going to click on the East Valley Computer Club, or I will come to our home page. And this is by clicking the tabs at the top of your screen in your Chrome browser. Now, you can also move between tabs by control 1, 2, or 3. So you'll see I have control 1, I'm in Amazon, control 2, I'm in the East Valley, and then control 3, I am at our home page. Now you also can use 3 fingers on your keyboard, or trackpad, sorry, to move left or right. So in summary, there are 3 ways to move between tabs in your browser. You can use a mouse, you can use the control key plus number, or you can do a 3-finger swipe to the left or right. If you want to take a screenshot of your Chromebook's screen, you can use the key command Control plus the overview or multitasking key. I've taken a picture of the key and outlined it in red on the left side of your screen. If you want to take a specific area of the screen, you can use Control, Shift, and the overview or multitasking key. And this will do a capture of the region that you want to take of your screen. A new feature just added with the Chrome operating system 77 is the Google Assistant. So you can just say the magic word and your you know what will come up, and you'll be able to ask any questions you want as you have on your Google phone. It is possible to split the screen on your Chromebook so that you can have two tasks running at the same time. To do this, you can use your Control plus the square box you'll see outlined in red. If you want the pane to be on the left side, you would hit Control left square box, and if you wanted to have it on the right side, you would hit Control square box on the right. Let's see how this will work now. This is a picture. We're now coming into the Files menu, and I'm going to want the Files menu on the left side of the screen. This is actually, sorry, the Docs menu, and I'm going to want it on the left side of the screen. So I'm going to hit Control and the left button. Now this is the news feed that I want on the right side of the screen, and I would hit Control the right box for the right side. And now we have two applications open in the same screen. And again, to split the screen, it's Control square box left or square box right. Now, in the operating system 77, you now have the ability to have virtual desks. Let me explain what that is. When you go to your overview button and you look at the top right-hand corner of your screen, you'll see a icon saying New Desk. Let me explain how this works. This is the screen in which we have the two applications opened as I just described. We now are going into the overview mode, and you will see at the top right hand corner you will see a new desktop. I'm going to click on this, and that is going to bring up, and we're going to make a new desktop. We have the original one that we have, which is here, but we are going to make a new desktop. We can actually make 4 desktops in a Chromebook. So let's take, this is our first desktop that we've made. On the left side you'll see Google Docs. On the right side you'll see a web page on technology. On screen 2, I'm going to put in Google Photos. And for screen 3, now this is where I've made a mistake, and I've chosen the PowerPoint online, and it chose the Desk 1 because that's where Chrome was. I wanted to add the PowerPoint app to screen 3. And then to desktop 4, we're going to add Firefox. So when we come back to the overview mode here, you'll see desktop 1. We have, again, I'll have to get PowerPoint off of there. We have our original split screen, which we can now work in our documents, and we can view our technology reports. We have Google Docs in 2, and in screen 3 we have PowerPoint, and in screen 4 we have Firefox running. Now, how to switch between virtual desks. The first way to switch between virtual desks on the left-hand side is simply to use the overview key, and that will bring up your 4 desktops. However, you can simply select the application that you're using and it will take you to that desktop. Let me explain this now in the next slide. Why would you use a virtual desktop when you can click through the tabs? In other words, if you have all those applications open, you could simply open them in a tab and switch between the tabs. Well, the reason would be is you can have multiple apps open in the same window, and that will give you more efficient workspace. Let me show you how this would work. I've now taken and I've made some desktops with multiple windows open. So this is our first, you'll see desktop 1, desktop 2, desktop 3, and desktop 4. Let's look at desktop 1. Again, it has Google Docs on the left side, and it has my news application on the right. We're going to take desktop 2, which of course has my Google Photos in it. We're going to take desktop 3, and I'm doing some work here, and I'm using PowerPoint to create some presentations, but I want to load some files, so I have my Files app open along with my PowerPoint. And in desktop 4, I want to use Firefox for some news clips, and then I've got a word processor open here called LibreOffice. This is their word writer, and it is open in the second pane. So I can switch between these different desktops simply by clicking on the desktop, and it will open it up. But if you come down here and you look at the first desktop is a dock. So when I click the Docs app, it brings up the first desktop because the Docs app is in the first desktop. I don't have to go to the overview. Now in the second desktop, all I have to do is click on the Google Photos. The third desktop, I just click on the PowerPoint and it will bring up the third desktop. And for the Firefox, I just bring that up, and that's desktop 4. Please note desktop 4. There's something special about it we'll talk about. So here are the 4 desktops that we've been demonstrating. What I wanted to talk about was in desktop 4, is desktop 4, as you'll see on the top, was actually running in Linux. In your Chromebook, if you go to settings, you'll see there is a settings for Linux beta, and if you turn this on, you will actually be able to, it will install Ubuntu, and you will actually have a fully functioning Linux machine. You can run both operating systems at the same time, and you can run Linux applications as well as Chromium applications. In desktop 4, I was running a Linux. Both applications were Linux applications. They were Firefox was run in Linux, and LibreOffice was run in Linux. So the demo today showed you multitasking with a screen, split screens. I showed you Google Assistant. I showed you the 4 virtual desktops you can have. We ran 2 operating systems at the same time, Chromium and Linux. We had applications from 3 different operating systems, Windows, Chromium, and Linux. So if someone says it's only a Chromebook, please show them this video. Have fun with your Chromebook. It's Ron Brown from Silvercom Computer and Technology Club.